Hey team, welcome back. Time for some word problems now. Some multiplication and division equation word problems. But before we begin, let's be sure we're clear on the directions. So for this page that you're going to work on, specifically numbers 7 to 13, there's two things we must do. Write and solve an equation. We need to see two parts. Write and solve an equation. There must be two parts. Let's go to work. George baked cookies for his math class's end of the year party. There's 28 people in George's math class, including George and his teacher. George baked enough cookies for everyone to get 3 cookies each. 3 cookies each. How many cookies did George bake? All right. So here's some key pieces of information. There's 28 people in his class. All right, 20. That's the number. 28 includes George's teacher. There's 28 people. He baked enough cookies. Well, we don't know. We don't know how many, but we know that he baked enough cookies for those 28 people to get 3 each. All right. How many cookies did George bake? So I'm going to take us through the equation part, and you'll solve it on your own. Write and solve an equation. Let's write it. So we don't know how many cookies he baked in total. I'm going to use C. We don't know how many he baked in total. But we know that those 28 people got 3 cookies each. So whatever that total amount of cookies was when he started, whatever that total amount of cookies was, that total amount of cookies divided by 28 people equaled 3 each. The total amount of cookies divided by 28 people equaled 3 cookies each. Here's one possibility of the equation. What you'll now need to do is find out how many cookies did he bake. C. What you're going to tell me is C equals what? That's what you're looking for now. Sam divided a rectangle into 8 congruent rectangles that each have the area shown. What is the area of the rectangle before Sam divided it? All right. So where they're talking about Sam divided a rectangle, that's this original one right here. Oops. This one in red, this rectangle was then divided into, I'll use a different color. Eight congruent rectangles. And they're telling you that this in here, this rectangle in here, this one, and I want to write over the words, but this rectangle in green has an area of 5 centimeters squared. So that would mean 8 congruent, that's a good key word. Congruent means the same, it means equals, they're the same size. So 8 congruent rectangles, well, if this rectangle has an area of 5 centimeters, then so would this one, so would this one, And so with this one. And etc. This one, this one, this one, and this one. The question that they're asking us is, what is the area of the rectangle? Whoops. What is the area of the rectangle before Sam divided it? Well, in your head, you might be already working out what that area is, but we need the equation. So let's use A for area. Area. So the area of the whole rectangle, the one that was in red, this whole rectangle, was divided by, there was 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The area of the large rectangle divided by 8 smaller rectangles gave them each an area of 5 centimeters squared. So you have to tell me now, what does A equal? Let's jump down now to 11. Hello, Mohammed. On some days, Melvin commutes 3.5 hours per day to the city for business meetings. Last week, he commuted for a total of 14 hours. How many days did he commute to the city? All right. Let's bust out the rectangles. Here is what we know. Melvin commutes 3.5 hours per. That's our keyword. Per day. 3.5 hours one day, 3.5 hours the next day, 3.5 hours the next day, 3.5 hours per day. They told us the total. Last week, he commuted for a total of 14 hours. Okay, 3.5 hours a day, and you got a grand total of 14 hours. How many days? That's what we don't know. We don't know. Whoops. We don't know how many days did he commute. But again, what we do know is that he commutes 3.5 hours per day. Remember, per multiplication, per day. So I'll use D for the variable. 3.5 times D equals, and they told us last week he commuted for a total of 14 hours. All right, so now there's your writing of the equation, and you're solving. You tell us, what does D equal? All right, so it's the same style for the rest of those questions from 7 to 13. We need to see the equation, like for instance here, we need to see the equation and also solve it. 14 is you're on your own. Write and solve a problem involving money that can be solved with a multiplication equation. So you're on your own for 14. All right. As always, once you're working in with this, you can leave a comment in Google Classroom, or you can check in with us when we do our meet. All right. Adios.